Hello YouTubers, and welcome to a new video of Arepas for Dinner. For the ones who don't know me, my name is Andrea and I make videos about my life in the Czech Republic. So I haven't done any video about actually living in Czech Republic for a while. I've done a lot of videos about my pregnancy because I'm pregnant again and I have a baby, and all that is fun because this channel is about my life in the Czech Republic in general, but I know many of you crave these videos about generalizations of Czech Republic, maybe to hate me, maybe to love me, or maybe to know a little bit more about living here. Also, I'm not sure I'm gonna keep this long hair, but for today's video, I think it looks very pretty. So that's it, let's start with the video. So I'm actually gonna make two videos. Today's video is gonna be everything that is wrong with Czech Republic, and next week's is gonna be everything that is fun or right or amazing about Czech Republic. So bear with me. If you hate this video, wait for next week, and if you hate next week's video, then I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, so let's start with the bad, because this week is gonna be the bad and the next week I'm gonna redeem myself with the good. So these are 14 things that I consider they're wrong in the Czech Republic, and you will experience them if you live here. So number one, bad customer service. And I think even Czechs are gonna agree with me here. Of course, customer service, I mean, like in restaurants, in hotels in general, is not great in the Czech Republic. It's actually very bad, and you get mistreated pretty much everywhere. I think it started to change in the last couple of years, maybe. I think after COVID, shops are actually making an effort to retain clients because there's not that much money outside. There's a lot of inflation, so actually, you have to be a little bit nicer to your customers if you don't want to go bankrupt. So yeah, but I'm used to you order something and they do it wrong, and then you get angry and they get angry at you. It's like, hey, can I have a pasta, I don't know, without the cherry tomatoes? And they bring you with the cherry tomatoes and you're like, excuse me, I say it without the cherry tomatoes. And they're like, well, the chef said he wouldn't put them on. You're like, okay. So my advice towards that is nothing. You'll have to deal with it. You can do what I do, that is being extremely extra nice, and then you actually take them by surprise because they're being horrible, and you keep being nice and smiley and kind. So I think by the end of the meal they're like, oh wow, and then you don't tip them, which is like, then you're evil too. I don't know, it's terrible, but that's my advice. Number two, this is related to me being pregnant right now, but you don't get any special treatment when you're pregnant. I don't know, I wanted to put it in the list. It's not like the worst thing in the world, but it's kind of like very odd compared to Venezuela, where I was born and raised, and US, a place where I lived and I enjoy being. So it's like nobody's gonna let you pass first because you're pregnant in the line. Nobody's gonna offer you a chair. Nobody's gonna hold the door open. Like in the past pregnancy, it was so awful that people that follow me on Instagram, that by the way, you should go follow me, they were like amazed about that. They were like, I never even noticed. And I was like, I've seen it. Now I notice it. That there's pregnant ladies in the metro and nobody stands up for them to give them the seat. Or, they're trying to like maybe take a stroller and they have a belly and people just like look at them. It's quite not nice. But this is not just for pregnant ladies. This is in general. Like I've seen people like fallen in the escalator and nobody helps them, and their things are all over the place and people just like walk over them, and that can be a big shock, I think. So bad treatment in general. I think there's maybe a little bit lack of compassion for the people you don't know in general in the people. So I'm sorry, this is quite sad, but it's the truth. I remember falling in the metro and nobody helping me, and my things were all over the escalators and people were really like passing on top of me, and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. But at the same time, my husband told me that a lot of people are used to maybe people doing that to steal or kind of like try to scam them or steal from them. And also a lot of people are drunk here, so they might think you're just a drunk person. Yeah. Number three is expensive private options, and I'm going to explain this. So I guess pretty much all over the world you have public and private, besides like certain countries that only have private and certain countries that only have public. Here you have both, like in most countries, but the private is very small, meaning it's very expensive. So private healthcare is very tiny. You cannot treat most things, and it's extremely expensive compared to like other places. Same, for example, for private schools. Like a private school here for your kids can be 20,000 Czech crowns a month. I mean, not even the school where Cristiano Ronaldo sent his kids in Italy was that expensive, because I Googled it. So I guess it's the lack of options, and there's not that many. So it has become kind of like a cartel. And cartel is when people in the same sector get together and set a price, and then that's pretty much it. So you cannot do anything about it, and the price is set. So that's, I think, the problem with private here. Is like public is for free, but private is just for the very, very rich. 4, and you've heard me complain about this for a long time, that is the health system. And a lot of people are gonna eat me over, because for a lot of people, good health system only means cheap health system, and that's not what I think is good. So a lot of people would say the doctors are amazing, it's just like the hospitals are very old, the rooms are very old, and the nurses are very mean. All that is true. Hospitals are old, nurses are very mean, but I've also encountered a lot of bad doctors. And I guess you have bad doctors everywhere, but since here you don't have like a private health system where you can actually pick your doctor more mindfully, you actually are just like thrown, and you see if you like the doctor, you don't like the doctor once the doctor is already treating you. So I do have some friends that had great experiences, and my grandmother-in-law was just operated, and apparently it was absolutely amazing and smooth. But I also had friends that, you know, one friend's lungs collapsed, and they literally put a tube to like take the water out, and they forgot to turn on the machine for like 5 days. And that was in Motol. And it's not the only one. Like, I've had friends with like very complicated medical issues that it has been months and months, and they cannot find out what's the problem. And then the problem is something as simple as like a small infection. So yeah, I'm not a friend of the health system, especially because I understand public health system is generally not the best health system in the world, and you don't have the option of private. You have private clinics that can treat a broken finger, but you don't have a private clinic where you can give birth, or where you can treat cancer, or where you can get like, I don't know, a bladder operation. I don't know. So yeah, that's one of the things that made me think I don't want to grow in the Czech Republic unless the system changes, because it's not good. And the hospitals are old, and in my opinion, a lot of the treatments are outdated, and I mean, they're gonna eat me over for this. I know you guys are gonna hate me for saying this, but I have to be honest. And of course, if I'm comparing a public hospital in Venezuela with here is a million times better. But remember, Venezuela is under a dictatorship, so you cannot compare a free country with a dictatorship. And I cannot compare the private ones in Venezuela with the public ones here, because those are better. Which is terrible that I'm saying that, but truth is, I do not like the health system here. And if I ever get sick, like God prevents, I would panic, and I think I'll go abroad and go bankrupt, paying the bills of a different health system, unfortunately. In fact, I'm having my second baby, and I'm so far planning to have the baby in Slovakia, because they do have a private clinic where I can deliver the baby. So now that everybody has paused the video and already left me some horrible comments down there, let's go for the next one. That is number 5, no drink and drive. And a lot of people are gonna be like, that's great, Andrea, no drink and drive is ideal. Yeah, when you live in the city center. But when you actually live outside of the city, for example, Hostivice or Nebushice, or like all these small kind of suburb areas around Prague, it's kind of a pain, because yeah, I understand why the no drinking and driving rule exists. In Czech Republic, people drink a lot, so I know a lot of blackout people would grab the car, they would crash, they would die, they would kill people, it would be horrible. But at the same time, that makes us, the not alcoholics, unable to go grab a glass of wine or a couple of beers and then drive back home. And that makes it very difficult for the city to expand. Like countries where the cities have expanded very big and naturally, like UK or Ireland, they have the highest tolerance for drinking and driving. And then you have countries like only Czech Republic, Moldova, and Russia, where there is zero tolerance. So I'm not a fan of that. I think the city doesn't finally grow naturally because of the drinking and driving thing. I know a lot of people are going to be against me, and I know if they would remove it today, a lot of people will die. So I get why they don't, but I don't like that policy. Number 6. Well, this one is changing little by little, but still, salaries from the East, prices from the West. I'm not saying that we have Eastern European salaries, but the average salary is around 1,000 euros a month. And I'm talking about like college graduate people with 5 years of experience can maybe aim for 2,000 euros a month and they can feel fulfilled, and the rich ones are making 3,000 euros a month. So there's a big gap there. Of course, you have the rich ones who are making a fortune, but with a career, you cannot make much money. And then, yet you have the same prices as in the West for food and for housing. So a normal apartment of maybe 70 square meter, that's 700 square feet more or less, with 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 kitchen, and a living room is around 7 million Czech crowns, that's $350,000. So yeah, prices of the West with salaries of the East, not a good match. That brings the next one, that is number 7, real estate prices. So real estate prices have been growing in the Czech Republic since pretty much their liberation from Russia in 1989. But it has been steeping, going up since I think 2005. I made an entire video on real estate prices in the Czech Republic. You can go check that out. I'll link it in the end of this video so you can check it out. But yeah, definitely real estate prices are absolutely insane. And I don't say rent prices because I don't think rent prices are crazy compared to other European cities. But real estate prices is like you live in a house where you're paying around $1,000 or like $1,000 a month for renting, and that same house is $1 million if you want to buy it. It's absolutely disassociated compared to Western countries. So definitely not a fan. Now things might change because the loans system in this country is never with a fixed, the mortgages, I mean, they're never with a fixed rate, so the percentage changes. And now that we are having inflation, those rates are going high, and I think we're having a little bit more of unemployment and less income in general. So I do think that some people might be unable to pay their mortgages since mortgages are higher than rents, which makes absolutely no sense, but is how it works here. And somebody said that, the trust funds tend to buy those houses from the banks, so the prices won't crash, but the trust funds also work on people's money. So if this craziness consequence of coronavirus and now the war in Ukraine keeps going, even the trust funds might fail and that might collapse the entire market. But I don't know, I'm not an expert, I'm just an enthusiast. Number 8, and that is like, you see that I'm kind of like going through the same subject. So I say real estate and now I say home distributions. So one of the things that kind of like saddens me the most about being unable to build here is, because it's very expensive to build too, because the land is super expensive, is that I do not like the distribution of the homes in the Czech Republic. So in the old days, most people lived in panelak apartments, which pretty much have the exact same distribution. That is 1 bathroom in the hallway, 2 rooms, 1 kitchen, 1 living room. But we've grown since that, and now they're building a lot of houses around Prague. Many of them are for sale, many of them are for rent. But you still are going to find 4-bedroom houses with just 1 bathroom. And if they do have an en-suite bathroom, meaning a bathroom inside the master bedroom, that master bedroom tends to be very small, even in some cases smaller than the kids' rooms, and the bathroom is smaller than the bathroom in the hallway. Why? I don't know. So I'm not a super fan of the distribution. Like, literally, we have an apartment in Margarita, Venezuela. It's a beach house that is 70 square meters or 700 square feet, and it has 2 bedrooms with 2 full bathrooms, a kitchen, and a living room. The distribution is spectacular. You cannot even see the door of the main room. Is amazing, of the master room, and is literally the same size as our previous apartment that had only 1 bathroom, and the bathroom was located in the entrance door, and it was not a panelak, it was a new apartment. So not a fan of the distribution. I don't know why they're not copying the West yet. It annoys me, but yeah. Number 9, and this is just for a certain time of the year, but in winter, in fall, and part of spring, we have low quality and low variety of produce. So as you have, for example, in the UK or in Spain or even in Germany, you have a lot of importation of fruits and vegetables, so you can enjoy the fruits and vegetables pretty much all year long, and they're the best quality all year long because you don't have like off-season grapes. You pretty much just import the grapes from a place where they're in season. So that's great. I mean, for the person consuming the fruits, yeah. Here we don't have that. So if you want to buy, let's say, something that is not apples after October, it's going to be quite expensive if you can find it. I mean, like, you can never buy a watermelon in December. It's just not going to, it's not there anywhere to be found. That took me a long time to get used to because I eat lots of vegetables and fruits. Like, I'm crazy for veggies and fruits. And of course, I come from Venezuela, where fruits we have all the variety you can imagine. So in my house, we always had this huge tray full of like pineapples and mangoes and like everything. And here I note that until like summer begins, I only have apples and pears. And it's tiring. So definitely something to look at. My people comment and say, no, you can go here and you can go there. But the thing is that who has the time to go around the entire city to find a watermelon? Like, nobody has time for that. So you pretty much don't eat it, and that's it. And yes, I miss a lot of the veggies. Like, they don't have Swiss chard, they don't have kale, they don't have I don't know, we had like 10 times of Swiss chard, so I don't know. If they have one spinach, it's the baby one, and they don't have the other one, and I just feel that I go to a supermarket wanting to buy all the greens, and then all the greens is like celery, and that's it. So yeah, not a fan. Number 10, and this one has nothing to do with the ones before, but this one is very important if you are an expat. That is, airport connections are horrible in the Czech Republic, meaning all the flights coming in and coming back from or to the Czech Republic are way more expensive than from Vienna or Germany. Why? I don't know. Like, don't ask me. But you pretty much only have direct flights, I think, to Chicago like once a week, and New York like twice a week or 3 times a week. I don't know. So it's very hard to get a direct flight anywhere. You literally want to go to Colombia, you have to stop in Madrid. You want to go to Brazil, you have to stop in Paris. You want to go to anywhere you want to go, you have to stop somewhere, which makes traveling with a baby quite complicated and makes traveling in general kind of annoying, because if you're already going to a far destination and you have to do a scale, or I don't know how you say that, like layover somewhere, it makes the trip way longer. So not a fan of that, and I wish it would change, because our airport is not smaller than Vienna's airport. I just think we have like a person that doesn't know how to bid for flights properly, or we tax them too expensive so they cannot come here. Also, all these countries that I mentioned tend to have very good airlines. Like Spain has Iberia and Air France. France has Air France, and UK has British Airways, so they have these gigantic airlines. And we have Czech Airlines, which is pretty much Ryanair, but like 10 times more expensive, but exactly like Ryanair. So doesn't fly very internationally or very luxurious anywhere. Number 11, and this one is quite, I think I mentioned this one before in other videos, that is, there's no beach. Of course, it's landlocked, hello. But after a while, I think it's not just that we don't have a beach, it's that the beach next, like closer to us by car, is like 11 hours. It's like really, we're very far away from the ocean. And on top of that, we do have some big bodies of water, like lakes, but lakes here grow this type of weird weed the moment they get warm. So the lakes are only swimmable or like nice to swim in maybe a couple of weeks at the beginning of the summer, and by mid-July you cannot swim in those lakes anymore because they have this green thing on top that is irritating and is not nice for the skin, so you cannot swim there anymore, which I don't appreciate, because I would like to have at least a nice lake to swim. But now I have a pool, so it's okay, I solved the problem. Number 12 is high taxes. So the taxes in the Czech Republic are 21%, and you have like a reduced 14% for certain things. But in general, the income tax and the VAT is pretty high. Maybe not compared to the rest of Europe, but yes, compared to the US, and yes, compared to more or less the rest of the world. So these taxes are supposed to pay for a lot of things, and they're supposed to pay for highways, hospitals, schools, yes, most of them are being remodeled, but highways are very bad compared to our neighbors, and I already talked about hospitals, they're not nice. So I am sure that the money is being mismanaged. I'm not saying that there's that the politicians are stealing it or anything. I just think it's being mismanaged. Like, for example, when somebody goes for an operation in the Czech Republic, some people, if you're old, get in the hospital 5 or 6 days before the operation, and then they stay for another week or 2 after. That's 3 weeks of hospital bed and hospital service you're paying for that person. And you're paying it with the taxes. Even though it's free, you're paying it. So I think it's just mismanaged of the money. So we end up having super high taxes compared to other countries in Europe, yet you don't see it as much as in other countries. So I'm not a fan of that. Also, when you have high taxes, you have a lot of people working in black, working under the table and avoiding the taxes. If you would have lower taxes, for example, instead of 21%, you would have 8%. I can assure you nobody would try to avoid paying 8% because it's super complicated to avoid paying taxes. Yet, you see, you go to places and they only want cash. Guess why? Number 13, super high prices for gas, electricity, and water. And this has increased, literally doubled in the last year. Of course, I know Russia, what's Russia doing to all of us? It's horrible. But unfortunately, I think we pay here something like $300 a month for electricity and like 100 extra for water. It's insane. Like, it's an insane amount. And also the system for charging you for those services is not quite ideal, because instead of charging you per month, you kind of give a monthly deposit. And by the end of the year, they tell you if you overpaid or you underpaid. Guess what? You always underpay. So you always have to pay extra by the end of the year. I don't know why they do that system. I know in theory is to save the money of the guy checking on your meter every month, but at the same time makes it very, very hard to save money. Because, for example, when I used to live in Spain and I would have a month where the electrical came in 80 euros, which was a lot for me, I would be like, oh gosh, maybe I should manage a little bit less my heater, or have less heater, or maybe cook a little bit less with my electrical oven and actually fry more things, or like put it in the pan. So I could make these small arrangements, and next month it would be 60 euros instead. So it was easy for me to manage. When it's just a monthly deposit, it's very hard for you to know what's happening, and you cannot do big important changes. So I'm not a fan of that system. And number 14, and this one is for everyone super angry in the comments saying, no, how dare you, is not enough self-checking. I do feel that there's certain cultures, for example, Spanish culture, that they tend to over-criticize themselves and their system and their country constantly, all the time, non-stop. Is it pain? No. I mean, I come from a country that does that all the time, and it's okay. I'm used to that. But the thing is that when you do that, you're always comparing yourself. You're always seeing how others do it. You're always trying to do it how others do it because you want to do it better. You end up with a system that kind of wins over the other systems, because you're always like, oh, wow, why do they have a special bus for people in wheelchairs in Mexico? I want that in Madrid. So they go and they just copy, they compare, and that's how you better things. If you never self-check because you think, oh, I'm good as I am, you're never gonna get better. And the truth is that people get super offended when you say there's something in Czech that doesn't work quite great. And you shouldn't get angry. I mean, all those things can just change and be better if you self-check, if you analyze what's the problem, and if you find a solution. But, if you have a drinking problem and you're like, I don't want to talk about it, you're never going to get over the drinking problem. It's the same with everything, any problem you might have. So when people say, yeah, bedside manners in the hospitals are horrible, but it is how it is. It is how it is. You're never going to change it. If nobody complains, if nobody says anything, you're never going to change it. So yeah. I think that's something that is lacking a lot here, and if people would do it more often, or they would be a little bit more open to criticism, maybe some things would change and would make this country even better, because this country is actually very good and it has a lot of good things. And if you want to hear all those good, amazing things, you have to wait until next week, because now I'm continuing and I'm going to record the second part right now, but it's not coming until next week because I'm evil and I want to make you wait for it. So that was it. If you like this video, wait for next week for the next video, or if you're watching it in the future, maybe just go and check that one as well, so you can see I don't hate Czech Republic. I've just lived here for a long time, 4 years already, married 5 years to a Czech person, and definitely know some things that can be better. But now I'm going to tell you everything about the good things about Czech Republic in the next video. So go follow me on Instagram so you can see my daily life in the Czech Republic and maybe can inspire you about how it is like to live here. And that's it. I'll see you next week with the video about the good things. Bye.